أهلا فيكم متابعينا. عندنا اليوم حلقة جديدة من برنامج شرايها عليا. اليوم عندنا حوار جديد مع دكتور السرطان بالطب البديل دكتور توماس لودي، عنده عيادة في تايلاند، وحواري معاه بيكون باللغة الإنجليزية، ولكن إذا حابين ترجمة العربية دخلوا الإعدادات في الفيديو نفسه وحطوا على الترجمة بتطلع لكم بالعربي. Thank you so much, Dr. Lodi, for coming on the show again. I wanted to pick up on a topic that we covered in the previous episode about creating waste and how waste in the body is what causes aging and what possibly causes cancer, and how cancer cells would not proliferate unless they're living in an environment that helps them proliferate. So we're talking about the swamp. If you have a swamp and it's not being cleaned up on a regular basis, then you are the perfect environment for creating cancer cells. So I want to branch off from that and kind of go into the emotional side of that swamp. So if we are living a lifestyle of junk food and a bad diet, then we're promoting cancer cells. But also on an emotional level, what do you feel emotionally promotes cancer more than anything else?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, that's such a broad topic, but basically, if we could kind of divide all emotions into two fundamental categories of fear and joy, okay. Right? Mm-hmm. You know, and there are different levels of each, and we can come up with, but so one are either positive emotions versus negative emotions. Okay, yeah. Well, and all the negative emotions are based, the fundamental foundation is fear. Now, with fear, we set into motion the autonomic nervous system. Okay, yeah. we go into sympathetic overdrive. Now, everyone might remember from high school biology that the autonomic nervous system has two arms, the sympathetic and a parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the fight or flight. The parasympathetic is the vegetative, so where you digest and your organs are working and healing and cleansing and doing all that sort of thing. And the fight or flight means all the blood gets shifted to your muscles, to the hind part of your brain, not your forebrain, to the hind part of your brain, which is the reactive, reflexive kind of thinking. You're not going to, if a bear is coming at you, you don't have time to say, let me see, if I go that way, you have to just go. Right, so so thinking goes out the window. What else goes out the window? Immunity. Your immune system is not necessary right now to save you from that bear, so it doesn't get any attention. Okay, what gets attention are your muscles and your bones and the organs to move. Your adrenal glands shoot off some adrenaline and epinephrine, and that's it. So what happens is all the blood flow is shunted away from those organs and shunted to these other organs. And so the organs which is where we get our cancers in breasts, colons, pancreas, gallbladder, brains, all those the blood is shunted away, so they're not getting the nutrients, they're not getting the oxygen, all that, and your immunity is shut down.
So you're saying because of the stress, all the organs are not getting enough blood supply and oxygen because we're stressed and everything is going to the muscles instead. Right. So they're not. So not only you're not getting the oxygen and nutrients, you're also not cleaning away the waste. Yeah.
You're not eliminating the waste. So it becomes a situation. So okay, that happens once or twice a week, not a big deal. But if you're in a relationship that keeps you stressed, whether that relationship has to do with your boss at work, your spouse at home, your parents, your children, a good friend, whatever it is, if it's keeping you chronically stressed, then you are putting your organs in a chronic condition that promotes cancer. So imagine even if you have breast cancer, but your liver is not getting all of the blood it needs. It's not detoxifying as well. Your kidneys aren't detoxifying as well. Your immune system isn't working as well. So all of that is part of it. In fact, and the decisions we make under fear, of course, are never. We often go back after we've had a chance to think about it and say, why did I do that?
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of people are in relationships that they know are toxic, but either it's the better the devil you know, or it's the I can't leave because of the kids, I can't leave because of X, Y, or Z, and they feel even more stuck. And even that stuck feeling where You are not in charge of where you want to go. The joy comes out of life, and then you start building cancer cells. And it's very rare that people see the connection with that, because people come and tell me that my diet is perfect, I'm doing everything right, but I'm just, creating cancer cells. And then you start looking at the emotions, and there are toxic relationships. So what would you recommend in this case?
Well, just an interesting phenomenon. We've noticed that not 100%, but most women with left-sided breast cancer have relationship issues with their mother. Okay, or children. And with right-sided breast cancer, it's relationship issues with their spouse or their occupation. So it's very interesting. Not all, but you notice it. But what you're going to do? So here's the thing with stress. First of all, you have to learn how to not stress, how to de-stress, how to unwind. Mm-hmm. And there are, of course, we know that exercise is very important. Getting enough sleep is very important. Not eating healthy so that your body is not plagued with overeating and indigestion and things like that. But also the mind. Remember, our minds, thinking is not a voluntary process. It's involuntary. And if you don't believe it, try to stop thinking for 1 minute. You can't. You can't turn it off. So that's the thing. And we certainly can't decide what we're going to think. Thinking happens to us just like our heart beats, just like our lungs breathe, just like our glands secrete. I'm not busy digesting right now. I'm not busy beating my heart. I'm not busy breathing my lungs. So these things are all happening to me. Just like thinking. Our thinking is just on automatic. It happens. Because remember, 95% of our mind is subconscious. Only 5% is conscious. And so we get only glimpses of our subconscious here and there. But really, that's what's running the show. Most people's behavior is subconscious. So, for example, if you want to look at how you were when you were first learning to drive, where your conscious mind was driving the car, you had to look at every little thing. You were holding both hands on the steering wheel, and you're looking out the mirror, and you're very slowly. Now you're in your subconscious. You can be talking on the phone, drinking your coffee. A man could be shaving, and driving to work, and all these things happen. So because so understand that probably the vast majority of our behaviors. So it makes you wonder, what are we in control of? We're not in control of what we're thinking, and therefore much of what we're doing, but much of what we do, you find yourself saying, "Hi, how are you?" And you didn't even think about it. You don't even know what you're saying. So most of our lives are on automatic. So what we need to do to stop the flow, because there's no way to stop the flow, is something called meditation. And meditation, for people who think that it's practicing another religion, and certain people do, you have to understand it's not. Every great saint, and Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, everybody meditated. I mean, that's and it goes with fasting. They all fasted and meditated. That's part of achieving that place, But anyway, look, what meditation is you're not praying to Buddha, you're not praying to Krishna. What you're doing is you're turning off your mind, and meditation is merely a method. Yoga is merely a method to turn off the mind, to make it blank, to make it still. And when the mind is still, you're in peace. Did you ever lie back and just go? Well, that's peace. That's where you want your mind to be able to get to. So you're in a stressful situation. Someone's walking in the house that you just had a fight with. Okay, and so now if you could just go, well, you can't just do that if you haven't been practicing it. You have to learn how to do it. Just like you have to develop a muscle to get strong with a certain body part, you've got to do the same with your mind. It's got to be a daily routine. You have to learn to meditate, learn to turn the mind off so that you can go and when you achieve that. So that's a very important thing. So once you're good at it, when the time has come, you do that, and you people say, take 3 deep breaths before you answer, right? Well, this is if you can learn how to do that. You keep the stress down. You turn off. I didn't even go into all the really serious things that happen with stress. For example, we know that a good, strong belly laugh increases our natural killer cells.
True.
We know that. And their activity. And we know that sadness and fear decrease our natural killer cells. That's a big deal. Because you're looking for some immunotherapy, laugh. Mm-hmm. Find your favorite comedian, get his DVDs, and laugh every day. So anyway,
so can I just interject here? Would you say that you can meditate or laugh yourself out of a bad relationship, or once you get into that state of quietness in the mind, then does that relationship automatically improve because of the state that you're in?
Exactly. That can happen because once you change, you need two people to fight. If one person is no longer fighting, then it's hard. So either the relationship will change, or you will realize with clarity rather than emotionally that you've got to separate yourself. Now, I've had patients where one of it was the wife. She needed to be away from her husband, and she said, I love you, but I can't right now. I can't live with you because my life depends on it. Yes. So I need a year to heal. So we need to separate for a year, and I'll meet you in 1 year, and let's see how things are. Yes. But I need to do this, and just that courage to do that, I think, was what got her through. She
feeling of her standing up for herself, kind of.
Exactly.
And has there ever been a case?
She knew her life depended on it. The problem is most people don't understand that the relationship is manifesting as cancer. Yes. They don't know that.
Yes. Well, with a lot of people you see that have diseases, cancer or even other diseases, there is usually an emotional element. Yes. And it's usually at home. I mean, obviously, maybe you'll have issues with your parents, but it's the issues at home that are constantly in your stream of mind. Has there ever been a case where you thought the only solution for this is to cut the relationship, that there is no way, no like stress management way out of this?
Many.
And do they improve once they've done that?
Oh yes. Yes. But some people who weren't really ready, they suffer from being out of the relationship, and now they've just turned one stress into another stress.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But if they can actually comprehend on a very deep level that this is the problem, then they're freed from it, and the stress is gone, and they do. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens.
Yes. I mean, some people are consciously or subconsciously in a relationship that they feed, that it's in a relationship that is killing them, but that they're feeding on as well. So they need it in a way, in a disturbing way, kind of. So are we talking about, let's say the relationship, it's not a fear-based relationship, but is it more like when you say husband and wife, is it more of I am not my own boss, I am out of control, or what is that kind of relationship? Because I see a lot of people who have like thyroid issues maybe, or throat cancers, or things that are happening here. It's about self-expression. You're in a relationship maybe that doesn't allow you enough self-expression. You don't really reach your maximum potential of who you are. You can't express yourself, and that also has like a suffocating element to it.
Absolutely. In fact, any toxic relationship is doing that. I mean, the final consequence of a toxic relationship is it's inhibiting self-expression. It's inhibiting, and it's based on fear. But one thing that happens with all people with cancer is that when they get cancer now, they feel like they've lost control over their lives. They no longer can just get up and do what they want. If they did have a life like that, they have to go to the doctor. They have to sit here for 3 hours. They have to go there, and pretty soon they find themselves living a life that is not of their choosing in any way. And this becomes, it's just like it's the loss of that. You go through a grieving process. Yeah. You get angry. And so all those things. And so we see that people come in and they're angry and they try to control. Well, I'm not going to come at 10 o'clock. I can't come at 10 o'clock. I'm going to come at, whatever it is, and we understand that because we see that and we know that. And so what we have is we always have people who work with our patients so that they could also start to understand that a lot of their responses are not coming from any place other than their anger and fear over losing control. And what I like to help people do is to turn that into something called surrender. And surrender is not giving in to the enemy. Surrender is acknowledging the omnipotence of God. It is acknowledging and it's saying, thy will be done. And if I'm going to go, I'm going to go, but if I'm not, I'm not. turning it over, and that's why fasting is the ultimate repentance. You know, when you fast, you're saying, I'm not going to do anything. I will let you heal me. Thy will be done, not my. You know, it's a beautiful. So fasting and surrender and this sort of thing. And what you're surrendering to is physiology, to life, to deities, to God. You know, you're not giving up. I mean, and that's what most people think that surrender means, you're giving up.
Yes.
But actually, you're giving in. You're giving in to the only power there is. There's only one power in the universe. It's divine. So anyway, when I see people do that, they find, and then they start forgiving everybody, and they get better. You know, there's a book called Radical Forgiveness. You know, and it has to do with this sort of thing. You know, if you think about your own life, your own stuff, none of us really know what we're doing. We have vague ideas of what's going to happen tomorrow, and we don't even really know what's going to come out of our mouth until we're saying it. You know, life is just a happening. It's just, and once you realize that about yourself, you can realize that's with everybody. And so and then you wind up forgiving everybody, because no one's, you know, everyone's just doing their best to try it, you know, and, you know, even though it doesn't appear that way, you know, when you run into evil people, you know, it's really hard to have that position. But, you know, that understanding is very important for most people. I'm not talking about the guy that's a serial raper or killer. I'm talking about your mom or
husband. maybe even forgiving yourself, because I think a lot of people, and I've seen this fear and resentment of what I got myself into, kind of, as well. Anger at myself for digging my own hole. And I had a client once who her partner was so caring and so enthusiastic about her going natural that she felt resentment in that, even that you're making it sound like I got myself into this.
Yes.
Then you start thinking about all the things that I did wrong that got me into this, and it becomes a self-bashing session on a daily basis. I mean, let alone the other people. Now it's an internal struggle of forgiving myself.
Exactly. That's a very good point. I see that all the time.
Yeah. So how do they get out of this? Where do we start in terms of, do you feel that maybe changing the diet, going through the fasting, doing the meditation, having juices, maybe creates an easier environment that will allow me to start forgiveness? Because anger is also diet related, right? So if I'm eating all this meat and I'm eating all the anger from the animal as well, and then it's very difficult to meditate myself out of anger if my anger then is actually substance-based. It's an anger that's physically coming in. So how do we set up the environment so that it's not toxic enough so that I can rise mentally, emotionally?
Well, you know, and that's true. You know, if you're you know, anger, depression, anxiety, all these things, when we look at the underlying pathophysiology of the central nervous system, it's a chronic inflammatory state of the brain.
Yes.
Okay, so depression is an inflammatory process. So anti-inflammatory. So we need to reduce the inflammation of the body, and one of the ways we know that happens is by getting enough sleep, by staying hydrated, getting the proper nutrients, and also by cleansing. If you clean out the toxins. We know that cooked food actually is inflammatory, that uncooked food is anti-inflammatory. So if we do a cleansing, we clean out all these toxins, our cells are now functioning better, including our brain, because our brain is an organ and it's dealing with the same toxins that everything else is. So if we clean that out, the brain becomes lighter, it moves easier, we're producing more serotonin, you know, it functions better. You know, you don't need these serotonin reuptake inhibitors, you know, called antidepressants. All you need to do is make your own, you know, and you can make your own only if you have a healthy, uninflamed brain. So anti-inflammatories, which include diet, lifestyle, and also, again, learning how to de-stress, you know, that's a very big part of it. But when I meet someone who's on the second week of a fast and a car cuts them off, they bless them. If I meet someone who just finished a big pizza for lunch and had bagels for breakfast, and you ask them what time it is, you know, so really our diet, our lifestyle really are reflected physiologically with our emotions. So that would be the first step. By doing that, then do the meditation, do the yoga and all that, and it will just fall into place. Then when you approach the person you're having a toxic relationship with, you won't contribute to that toxicity, and the relationship will dissipate or end, because that person may need to fight. And if you're not fighting, they're going to have to go find someone else to fight with.
Yes, yes. So I think that's a great message. I think there is a lot of hope in terms of addressing the issue emotionally before getting rid of the husband, you know, before saying, I want to cut this relationship completely, because a lot of people have issues with doing that. So they continue with their disease, they continue with the cancer because this person is continuously there. But this is actually very empowering. This is saying, you can actually work on yourself, have internal peace that has nothing to do with the relationship, and then still be able to control your health and the situation that you're in. And like you said, some relationships will end up ending anyway, because that was the direction. It wasn't, it needed to feed on something. And once that thing is not there, then it stops feeding on it and it stops existing. So in some cases, the death of the relationship is the solution, but in most cases, you can probably work yourself out of it.
Sure. And cancer is a family affair. It's not just the person with cancer that gets cancer. The whole family is suffering from different perspectives. You know, so really it needs to be approached from the family. So when we have people come to our center, we always encourage, bring as many family members as possible, because if you're going to make some changes in your life that you want to be sustainable, you need to have the other members of your family involved.
Yeah, true. Thank you very much, Dr. Lodi. I have a lot of other questions, to be honest, but we'll do other episodes about that, and we'll have our audience also ask questions in the comments, and we'll try to answer those in future episodes. شكرا لمتابعتكم. إذا عندكم أي سؤال إضافي للدكتور، مرض السرطان بالطب البديل، علاجه من ناحية تغذية، من ناحية نمط الحياة، من ناحية علاج النفسية للتخلص من هذه المرض، حطوا لنا أسئلتكم وتعليقاتكم في التعليق، ولا تنسون تشتركون في القناة وتحطون لنا لايك على الفيديو. شكرا لكم.